Hello team, welcome to another training session for custom entry editor. In today's custom entry editor video, we will be seeing how we can edit the labels and titles. So let me first give you an example of what kind of labels we can edit and the placeholders. So in this we have on the left rail we have this add headline, add subheadline. These are the placeholders that we can edit, and then on the right rail we have like for some of the right rails we already have settings where we can update the title and the placeholders. However, there are some places where we cannot edit them directly from the settings. For example, let me search a phrase here. So as you can see, I searched for a phrase and here it says from your website, and then from around the web. So this is one of the example of the title that we can edit using CSS, and I'll be in the demo I'll show you how we can edit those things with the CSS. And the reason we would want to edit them is just to have a different kind of wordings that editorial team is used to, or they understand better with those wordings. So that can be one of the reason we would want to customize these kind of titles. And similar for the placeholders. So in this case we can edit some of the placeholders and the titles here. So in the demo I'll explain you those things. So let's get started. Let's go to LND. In the LND, let's go to entry editor. Okay, so I have one B test already prepared where I'll show you the settings. Okay, so as I explained you, on the right rail we have some of the right rail options that are editable. Like we can edit their head titles, and we can set the limit. We can set the placeholders for those. So those are something we can do directly. However, the example that I showed you here, these are not editable directly. So for this, we have a custom CSS, which is again standard CSS. It's like what we do here is we select that label that we want to edit. So for example, here I'm selecting this label. So as you can see, it's a label, and we can select it using its parent selector. So we have this parent, and then all the CSS attributes which take us directly to that label. So we select that, and then we mark this label as hidden by default, so that we can override it. So this label is marked as hidden, and then to override it we are using after pseudo element. So I have let me run this B test. So I'll show you how it is executed. So in this B test, I have like very little options in the right rail. So as you can see here, I have updated the title and the placeholders. So these settings are done directly in the right rail settings. Like here, as you can see, we have title, we have phrase and headline, and we can set the max count limit. And now I have edited the around the web and from your site titles also. So as in when I selected this, it is now showing me this next step and discover more. So when I'll inspect it, I'll see that standard CSS that I've added. So what I'm doing here is I'm by default making it hidden, and then I have added a pseudo element here, which is actually overwriting the text. So I'm giving a content here as next up, and then I'm making it visible. So only my pseudo element is visible here, and using that pseudo element I'm able to override these labels. So these kind of similar CSS we can use for other types of labels that we want to edit across the entry editor. So this is one example, and apart from that, on the left panel we also have the headline, subheadline. Those also we can edit, as you can see here we have this placeholder. So instead of just giving headline, maybe we can give uh, let's say best headline, and then instead of subheadline we can say short headline, just to override the default. So that way we can give the placeholders. And apart from that, if we want to give a label to them, right now they are simply the placeholder, and they are kind of input we can start typing directly. However, instead if we want to give something more beautiful, for example, let me show you example via another B test. Okay, as you can see here, we have the same headline. Uh, we can give the placeholder. Apart from that, we also want to give some kind of label on the top of a headline. So how to give that label? So we can use this custom HTML. In that, we can define our label with any of the tag. Here I'm using p tag to define the label. This is the top, this is like top headline for the whole module. However, this is the headline that I'm giving as a label to this headline. So let me run this B test to give you a demo. Okay, so as you can see here, I have beautified this module with it's like my label, and then after that I have the placeholder that is defining the headline here. So using this custom HTML, we can give any tag and define our own labels. For this video, I was just covering on this labels and titles, that how we can edit the default one using CSS and using the default settings that we have already in place. That is it. Thank you.